Welcome to the Lose Weight for the Last Time podcast with me, Laura Conley, certified life and weight loss coach, here to free the moms from diet culture, food drama, body shame, all the things. And today, I'm so excited to welcome a timeless soul. She is like a goddess energy times 10. She is talking to us about what it means to mother the way that you want to mother. My guest is Dr. Gertrude Lyons. She is a clinical psychologist, a spiritual guide, and a newly released author of Rewrite the Mother Code: From Sacrifice to Stardust, a cosmic approach to motherhood. Oh, you guys, the book itself is so good. But in this episode, we are talking about the problem with cultural mother codes that equate motherhood with martyrdom. I'm sure some of you guys can already relate. We're also unpacking how to identify and deconstruct the subconscious rules and paradigms passed down from generation to generation. We're also going to dive into the power of surfacing your own mother code, crafting from your values rather than defaulting to inherited or imposed ones. We'll also talk about the beautiful cosmic codes. We're going to get into the woo, you guys, that allow you to mother from a place of intuition, empowerment, and even delight. We dig into real talk, uncovering shame without self-judgment, giving yourself permission to pursue pleasure, and learning to reparent yourself so that parenting becomes joyful, a conscious choice, not just an obligation. So if you're fed up with the martyr mom model and ready to mother from a place of clarity, fun, and alignment, this episode is your invitation to rewrite your own code. You guys, like I said, you are going to be obsessed with Gertrude. I am on this mission to find more role models, and she is one. When I got invited to go to her book launch in LA, I knew I had to be there. I basically invited myself. You guys, my best friend was going and my other good friend was hosting it. And they were like, "You wouldn't want to come, would you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I will fly in." Like there was just something in me that knew I had to be there. And now I know why I had to be there is because I know I'm supposed to learn from her. And this conversation was a fabulous start. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of this episode and what you think of Gertrude. She is just pure light. I literally smiled from ear to ear recording this podcast, and I just want to be in her energy. So I know you're going to be obsessed with this podcast. Let's dive in. Welcome, Gertrude. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Lyons. It's so good to have you here. Will you just kick us off by introducing yourself to us and tell us a little bit about your book that just came out and what led you to write this book?
Oh, wow. Okay, good. Well, we'll be going for a while here. No,
Yeah.
That's great. Well, first of all, Laura, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And I will just say this for a moment that I had the blessing of meeting you in person in real life at one of my book events. So my book that just came out May 13th, 2025 is Rewrite the Mother Code: From Sacrifice to Stardust, a cosmic approach to motherhood.
Oh.
So what caused me to write this book? Kind of a lifetime of my own seeking and understanding that some of the hard things that we do, some of the challenges that come our way, or some of the transitions in our life are always the most optimal time for growth and transformation. So we go way back, and my first experience of that was when my husband and I got engaged, and my boss at the time suggested we do premarital counseling. So, Laura, we'll be married 35 years on the 23rd of this month. So it was the best advice we could have ever gotten, but it was way out there. Like this was 1989. We were getting married in 1990. This was not done. I mean, if you were going to go to couples therapy, it was because you had serious problems, not because you're trying to get ahead of the game or get a good. But so that really opened the door for me to see, oh, wow. Like, yes, one, follow my intuition, follow something that seemed really out there and weird, but at the same time was also, there was a rightness to it that I couldn't maybe have words to, but I also not rationalized, but what I could put concrete on it at the time was, oh, like, yeah, I'm about to get engaged. And gee, my models for relationship and marriage don't look so good, but neither do his. So him with parents twice divorced, alcoholism, extramarital affairs. My parents weren't divorced yet, but they did get divorced a year or two later. Similar dynamics where I'm like, oh, well, if that's what we both saw day in and day out, even though we're so in love right now and can't imagine anything going wrong, we didn't have the best teachers in general. So that was enough for me to prompt asking him. He was like, what the hell? He did not understand this at all, but he somehow went along with it. I really give him so much credit for just tolerating, I guess, to begin with. But anyway, we both basically saw value immediately. And then we started on our own growth paths. Then when we decided to have children or try to have children, and then parenting and all these things can be a pretty intense thing to like stay on a growth path. There were definitely times when we did have children and a certain point where I'm like, that's just too much. I'm stepping back. And it was later that I looked back and could say, I thought I was still transforming, but I wasn't. I was maintaining, I was coasting, actually ways I lost myself in my children, kind of fell into old paradigms. So that's where some of the cosmic comes in. I'd have these moments visiting sacred sites and holy places and things like that to have some pretty profound epiphanies that really shaped my trajectory and journey. And at that juncture, it was like, wow, if you had a hard time staying on the growth path, even though you know all the benefits of it and you had people around you that supported it and you backed off, like, wow, like
What's going on out there with everyone else? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when I decided to get my doctorate and study it. And I thought I could kind of keep myself personally still out of it. But lo and behold, that was not possible. And it became me really another journey or another inflection point where I was able to jump back in. I decided to and really use that also for my own kind of reawakening, opening to the next level.
Yeah.
So you do a dissertation. It was what I thought was kind of the hardest thing I, for sure in the intellectual standpoint had ever done, really put myself fully in it. Wasn't sure I could actually pull it off. I called it my third child, but nobody reads a dissertation, right? Like you've gone to all this work. I found all this great stuff, but that wasn't something I could, I'm going to go out and promote. Some people, there's probably a small handful of people who wanted to read it and actually did.
No, we need it the way you guys, you have to read this book. It's so good. So first of all, I should have asked you before, what should I call you? I'm like, I called you Dr. Lyons and I'm like, wait, that feels way too formal. What am I doing?
Thank you for acknowledging, that step in my journey, but now you can please call me Gertrude. Yeah.
Yeah. No, when my husband got his PhD and this was like in our 20s, and people would invite us to their weddings and they'd be like, Mr. and Mrs. on the reply card. I would like exit out and write like doctor, because I was like, there was blood, sweat, and tears from me. I want the DR. And my husband didn't care, but I was like, sharpieing the reply cards like an asshole. But anyways, it's well earned. And it is, watching him go through it. I remember like, it's like visceral, probably more for him, but just him, when he went through it, I'd be like, okay, we're going to do this on Friday night and this on Saturday night. And he's like, I am going to like lie flat like for the entire weekend. So I get that. I have so many questions, Gertrude.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you guys, you have to get this book. It's so fun to read. I do not like book covers, like what do you call them? Like the
book jacket.
That book jacket, yeah. But you guys, so it's like, it was the best surprise. If you're on YouTube, you can see that you take the book jacket off and she's got this infinity symbol, which is one of my favorite symbols, and all kinds of symbols intertwined. I have to say this. No one else is going to say this when they interview you. The use of exclamation points, you guys. I can't, if you know me, I cannot end a sentence with a period. Like I can't do it. It is like a panic attack. I have to end it. So the amount, I'm like, oh my God, she's like my soul sister with these exclamation points. So that really made me excited. This is like not what you're here to talk about, but
I still love it because picking up on the energy of it, which
Yes,
is what I want,
exactly. Like, it is not a dissertation. It is so fun to read. There's so many little practices that you can do so that you can start to rewrite your mother code, which brings me to like, what even is a mother code? Like, what does that mean in the first place?
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, when it came to start trying to distill and put things in, I don't know, anything from branding to like, what do we call this? These are the things that came up. In motherhood or in mothering, there are codes. There's childhood codes, cultural codes, and then cosmic codes that I bring out in the book. And so that's what I name them. But childhood and cultural codes is the wiring we get from just being born into this world. There's the cultural paradigm that we sit in, and then there's the family that we spend 24/7 with through our upbringing. Well, that is just one big wiring job, right?
Yeah.
And we're deciding what we feel about ourselves, what we think and feel about the world, what the world can expect from us, and then particularly around motherhood and mothering. So, what was my personal experience of it? What did I see around me? And then it just becomes unconscious material that's just in us, and it runs us unless we raise our awareness and start seeing that this is what happened. We're just going to either reject it completely and say, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to say mindlessly. And I don't mean that quite so in such a derogatory way, but we're just kind of like floating in the stream and we're in the sea that we swam in, and we just keep recreating. And
It's like we didn't consent. It's like the air that we breathe, right? It's like we're just playing out this programming that like got passed down to us without our like saying yes. I want to go into that.
And we'll talk about them specifically, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to say like what they are. So that's everything that's out there in our culture that's telling us how we should mother, what it is, why you should do it, and if you should do it, and everything. We need to know that we can have consent now, because now we're adults, and now we can choose what of that programming do we want to keep? What do we want? We do need to rewrite, and really the whole idea is to make it your own, right?
Yes.
Like really make and create a mother code statement, a mother code manifesto. I didn't use that word in the book, but it's really what matters to you, and you being able to just go inward to navigate the whole world of motherhood in all of your choices, and then also measure yourself against versus how it is in our culture. One of the mother codes is like, no, you don't know. Everyone else knows. There's experts in this. There's industries and fields, and they all know better than you. And they're going to tell you how to do it right. Like that's probably one of the top echelon of codes is don't listen to yourself. And by the way, the experts aren't going to listen to you anyway. So why bother? Sadly, I mean, I'm laughing, but it's super sad. One other reason I'm writing this book, because I want us all to wake up to we may still fall into them, but we're aware. And then some we don't even realize. This isn't to like, oh, you name them all and now they're there. And so, yes. And we want to do that so we can create our own experience. And then that opens us up to the cosmic codes. Then we can kind of live and start looking at the universal truths, wisdom of the universe, why I put directly in the title, cosmic, codes. And that's a whole other story about how nervous I was to actually be that out there, with what's in the book. It's like, well, let's just lure them in with something benign. And whether that cosmic is spiritual, it's deeper truths, it's universal law, that's still what you want to make of it. It isn't religious, we're trying to break out of any of those paradigms. Hopefully it would support if religion and a organized religion is something super meaningful to you. This just gives it another lens and perspective of why you're deeply involved in a spiritual pursuit of any kind.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I know I'm always saying to my clients, I'm like, this is a big, guys, like, you're going to come in and lose weight, but really we're going to do all the woo shit.
Right? Exactly. And I know I love that about what you do because sometimes we need that. Like we
Yeah.
need something that's kind of socially acceptable about us to work on
Yeah.
as a doorway,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's exactly
You know,
right.
for us to have the courage to step in, even though deep down we know it's bigger and deeper and it's going to be all the things. We got to trick our mind sometimes because that brain of ours, it's valuable, but it has this mechanism to just keep us safe and
Yeah.
alive. And that doesn't usually involve risking and going into new territory
Yeah.
or unknown territory. It's like these codes are, they're known. So they're familiar. And even though we know they don't feel as good, it's like, yeah, but
Yeah. It's crazy. The brain is always going to pick what's familiar over what's best for you. It's like,
Mhm.
it's so screwed up. So
Yeah.
tell us, like, highlight a few of the mother codes for us or some
Yeah.
of the rules that we get and that we play out that maybe don't serve us.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So one that I always like to put at the top of the list is that motherhood is self-sacrifice
Mm,
and that to be a good mother, you put and to do it right, you put yourself last.
yes.
Basically, your children are the most important, then maybe a spouse or partner, your career if you're working outside the home, and then you may or may not even make the list. The big myth about that is that you have to do that, but nobody ever even looks at it logically. It's like, well, why would that even make sense if you're going to burn yourself out and then not be as available, be cranky or
Yeah.
feel like, and then eventually resentment builds and all the things, right?
I love how you said
Martyrdom.
that. Let's just look at this logically. Even if it made sense for you to put yourself last, it doesn't actually work. So let's just like try for like a month, a year, putting you at number 1 or 2 or 3 on the
Mhm.
list. And I'm always like, if you can't do it for yourself, like do it for your kids, just for like the doorway. Because if you don't do it for your kids, like what messaging are they going to get then? Right. Like,
Exactly. Well, 100% because you hit it. It's you're modeling just like we didn't have models. I didn't have models from my mom or grandma and the generations that have been going on forever and ever and sometimes horrifically of that our care mattered, right?
mm,
That we have value. And it isn't even just like, oh, we need to take care of itself. It's like, you don't even matter. You're here to fulfill this role that
yeah.
somehow you've also bought into. And this is a code too, that your greatest purpose on this earth is to conceive and bear children and
Hmm.
raise them, which is another myth I break in the book too, or just at least have us kind of like think about the fact that this whole Adam and Eve scenario that we've like, this is how far back it goes, right?
Hmm.
Is that this wiring that, Eve did something bad, supposedly, like she just, oh, here's a tree. Like she's pursuing truth, greater truth. And then is somehow told that was bad. Women shouldn't have the full truth.
Mm.
And look at this super evil thing. And look, now you're the cause of the downfall of humankind.
Oh my God.
And now we have to suffer and childbirth. You will suffer in childbirth. I mean,
Mm.
it's the biggest PR campaign,
Oh,
not,
yes.
I'm not holding back here. Like
Oh, go
there's,
for it.
something I touch on in the book is the little known story, and you'll find it more in Judaism, still a little bit alive, is that there actually was a wife before Eve, and that's
Mm.
Lilith.
Mm.
And Lilith,
I didn't know any of this because I grew
yeah,
up in the Unitarian church, which is basically not a church. It's like where you go to ask yourself questions so you can find the answers within.
well, which is good.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean,
Love it.
it's very rooted in spiritual. Like if you had to be black and white, or if you had to decipher, it's like very much spirituality versus religion.
I love that about Unitarian.
Yeah.
But this common story that is there that actually there was a Lilith who, in the story before the story of Adam and Eve, God, however you want to envision God, created this man and woman at the same time, right?
Mm.
Like they came into the world as equals Not, oh, we're going to take a piece of man, superior man, and make a woman out of a man.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you just look at it, it's just, that's so, and we just kind of take these things
As truth without questioning. Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't mean I'm not at all like there's some beautiful and important things in the Bible. But at the same time, it's been so reworked over the years. There were so many things in it that were still a balance of masculine and feminine values. It just isn't that way now. So, yeah, Lilith. And then, they kind of put it, I'm just going to say this more generally, like Adam had demands that Lilith was like, no, like I'm not going to do that. One of the ones they say is that Adam wanted Lilith to lie under him during sex. Yeah, like it gets really like heavy. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. And there was this big tussle and fight. And so she left. She's like, yeah, well, if that's how you see it, then I'm out of here. And so it's like the story then got turned into Eve. But this, of course, they're not going to share this story about a woman having agency, having choice, saying this isn't how I want it, so I'm moving on, and speaking for herself and having a voice. Like, we'll just pretend that didn't even exist, and we'll just share this other story where women are evil and bad. So this all to say, what's carried from that. So you think about it, like 6,000 years of wiring.
Yes.
That our purpose and why you're here as a woman is to give birth to children.
Yeah.
Well, seems like we're capable of that, which is miraculous and beautiful. And like, I think it's like the coolest thing ever that we can have a baby. It's a miracle and it's amazing, but it's guess what? Like, that's just what we do. We create, and
that's so well said. Yeah.
We create. And so I want to really get us out of that narrow paradigm of like, this is what we're here for.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I would just to you guys, the audience, like, think about that. Like, we do a lot of this work inside the Yummy Mummy of like, what is a good mom? Like, what does society, what does culture tell us a good mom is? And like, do you accept that or not? And to your point, like, do you want to rewrite it? And I've been on like a major kick lately. I shared this a little bit with you at our event at Shelly's house, but what's so kind of ironic is that my mom did follow the American mother playbook perfectly. I mean, literally, like she got a fucking A+. Like she did so amazing. Like she really was the perfect mom. She was, I feel like she was the 1990s version of Dr. Becky Kennedy. She was there. She was just like, so unconditionally loving and she did it all. But to her detriment, she's paying for it now. And so I'm on this warpath of sharing this cautionary tale of don't live out these codes or this playbook of what a good mother is, because the other end is not pretty. It's not pretty because she never questioned the playbook, because why would you? It's not really safe to question the playbook, especially back then. Now it's getting more and more safe. And I think that like that's in your book too. And I want to talk about that too. It's like, how do we create safety in our bodies and in our nervous system so that we can do the rewriting process? But really the cautionary tale is be careful, because if you don't take care of yourself, like if you're not on that list, like it's again, like I just said, it's not pretty. It does not end well. No. And like, we're all suffering because of it. Thank God she did such a good job of momming, because my brother and I have such a strong sense of self, right? Yeah. So like we can go through this with her, but I can't imagine if like we didn't have that strong sense of self or we were more fragile. I think it would just continue to recreate the trauma that her whole mission was to interrupt.
Yeah, so, which anyways. I love. And I love everything that you're saying, Laura, because it's so important to be able to look and see, wow, she really worked to do some things differently and move beyond her parents and some things that didn't work there.
Yes, exactly.
You get to then have the benefit of the steps that she took, which now you can stand on her shoulder. We're going to stand on their shoulders anyway, but you have a lot more positive, a little stronger foundation.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that because you're your own person, that those are all going to align with how you want to do it.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing okay, well, all those things, yes, there's a lot there that I values and desires that I want to keep in my mother journey. But I also see like, oh, she left herself out still. Like that one, and that had a cost. And I can, because of how
she just said it yesterday. She's like, I just never included myself. It was always about everyone else. And now I'm suffering. And it's hard for her to even ask herself the question of like, how do I move from here? How do I even go on now? But
she's important. In the question, and that's a big deal. Like, right? That she's noticing it and acknowledging it, that then, anything's possible from there. It's when we try say like, oh, no, I wouldn't change a thing. Or, when
exactly.
And you should do the same thing. That's what happens is out of our insecurity, one of the codes is, if you decide to have a child, you're going to have automatic sisterhood with all these other mothers because now you're in the, oh no, like we're all trying to figure this out and we're in this paradigm that isn't really made in a feminine value way. So, we end up insecure and competitive, and in order for ourselves to feel a semblance, and this is what we can talk about, reason why I so much want to rewrite these is, so instead, we judge others for their choices. And
people are so mad at me. People are so mad at me for like going to pickleball and not watching my kids swim at swim team. Like you can kind of see the moms that are playing by the rules and they're like disgust in my choices, and I'm here for it. Like I can take it. I have the capacity for it. But yeah, I do see, I mean, most of the time people are celebrating it, but it is bold and it's different and it's scary, right? And it's confronting to do it a different way, especially when you have all of not only the programming, but everyone else playing by the playbook. Like everyone else is following the rules.
So if you're not, then that's going to cause them, so we think that'll help us feel good about the choices we made, and we don't have to look at like, oh, she's doing that.
Yeah, maybe I'm being triggered by this because I actually want something different too, but I'm too scared to explore the question of how do I rewrite this, or what did I even inherit in the first place?
100%.
Hey guys, real quick, I gotta let you know that we have been working on something so special for you. We want to help you lose 5 pounds this week. So we created a custom challenge for you. All you have to do is go to ymx.lauraconley.com/party, and we will hook you up for this free challenge that literally guarantees you'll be down 5 pounds this week. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to take you through step by step the things that you need. If you're a busy mom, this is your answer. Finally. So go check it out. The link is in the show notes. It's ymx.lauraconley.com/party. I will see you inside. Okay, so I'm like already looking at the time. I'm like, oh my God, I have so many more questions. So how do we start to look at the codes that we've gotten and rewrite them?
Definitely a good question. We don't want to just like, oh my God, there's all these codes out here and sorry, you're stuck with them, like, good luck. But this first step is raising the awareness. And I call it a very courageous act to be willing to uncover and even contemplate that some of these things maybe I'm already doing, or gosh, I thought that was okay, or that I would do it that way, or what do you mean? But to even start being curious about what these are, being curious and being willing to have some amount of time where you're willing to go as deep as possible in this exploration, because you'll find a lot and you'll find this treasure. So once you kind of make this agreement with yourself to be as truthful about it, then there's, specific things. And to keep it still maybe a little less triggering, I ask people to just reflect on your own, journaling, whatever, or working with a coach or therapist, however deep you want to go with it. But look and make 2 lists. What did I like about the culture I grew up in, how I was mothered, what I saw mothering around me, and what didn't I like? We want to try and take as much out of the bad, good, that was wrong or that was bad. And it's just, this is what I liked. This is what I didn't like. So let me give a quick example. I didn't like the fact that my mom didn't take me to activities or ever pick me up from school because she was busy and she had a children's clothing store and she worked, right? When I look at that, I could just say, so when I have kids, I'm going to make sure and take my kids to everything and be there, and maybe even like I'm not going to work because, but if we can take then another step beyond that, your feelings are valid. Have feelings about it. Be mad, be hurt, like all of that. But then when we can get to, well, what was the deeper yearning I had that could have been met? What did I want like from her? Oh, like I wanted connection, right? I wanted some space and time, like just with her. Oh, well, there's lots of ways I can create that, and I can.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, and in both, instead of like swinging from one end of the pendulum all the way to the other end.
Exactly.
So good.
So we find that value or a deeper desire, and then we start making a list. So first we make all those likes and dislike lists, and then we start looking for values and desires and principles. Have you take those and pick, there's a process to like find them and then weave them together and really come up with, I call it your mother code statement. And that can be as long as you want, but eventually you're going to want it to be something you can hold, and that will include things like from the example that, I'm a woman who creates connection.
Is that your statement? What's your mother code statement?
Some that are mine, like I'm a woman who learns and grows, honors and expresses her emotions, who is alive and wake, engaged, and creates present moment experiences and is as conscious as possible. Like I value consciousness.
Yeah.
And that's in there. So living to my potential, that's another one, that's in there. I put do's and don'ts in there to kind of help. Like you don't want your mother code to be a not, I'm not going to do this, similar if you're ever writing a vision statement or, something like that. Right. And it's not concrete. You can have goals and things that come out of this statement and it can grow and it can evolve and change, but mine hasn't changed all that much. Right. Yeah. Sometimes I'll hold like a piece of it. I am a woman who loves, and like, okay, what if everything I do flows from that and I measure it against that, right? Is it loving toward me? So all of that, right? And so now you have this, and then you get to like, look at what's it like to live it, right? So now you can look at choices maybe you've made in the past to practice and look at, well, if I were following my mother code, would I have done that differently? Or what would be different about it? Or I have this next thing coming up. An example, like I share in the book a lot about my conception and birth and new motherhood. It came in, I would say, making those choices around conception and birth. I did end up choosing home birth for both of my daughters. And that decision could only feel solid if it was coming from something like a mother code statement. Otherwise, it would have just been a reaction like, oh my God, my mom was so into hospitals. I have to do something different.
Yeah.
It wasn't that at all. I wanted to be as present as possible, as conscious. I wanted to be in the moment and feel it all, right? Like I wanted the whole experience. And that's me, right?
Yeah.
But I can measure myself against that, and it helped me then stand up when I certainly got the barrage of everything from that's selfish, that's, risky, that's so dangerous, this and that I had done enough of my homework in addition to following that deep intuition that was leading me there.
Yeah.
So that's hopefully a good example.
I love that. Oh, it's so good. And what you were talking about just about the likes and dislikes, I love this idea of let's figure out what we like and what we don't like. Let's figure out what our values are. Like another theme that's been coming up a lot inside the Yummy Mummy, like my master's program, is what do I want? The amount of times my clients will come back and are like, I actually haven't ever asked myself that question.
Yes.
Like
Laura.
it's bananas, right? Like, what do I want?
It's
Like
a radical
it's
act. It's
radical,
revolutionary to even ask the question.
right? It's so crazy. And then can that be the measuring stick or device versus like, I have these handbags and my kids go to this private school. My kids go to this camp and my kids are on this lacrosse team. And you know what I mean? It's
And
like,
this expert says this is how I should do it.
exactly. It's like that should be the way that we are measuring ourselves. But even to ask the question, what do I like? What do I not like? What do I want? What do I not want? It is a radical act. And like my business coach the other day, she was like, okay, you're going to do this, this, and this strategy. And I was like, okay. I wrote down on my paper, I'm not going to do that, LOL. And she laughed. I told her like 10 minutes later when I got the courage to be like, I don't want to do any of that shit. So my business strategy is to ask myself what I want to do and do that. And I'm like, what if that was the best strategy ever? Like, that's so radical to your point.
I know,
and
right?
It's so feminine. Like, my word of the year is feminine, which I did not want that word. I was like, ew, gross, barf. Like, no, I want to control everything. We want to like hyper control and have a formula. And we can, I mean, to your whole point, the whole book is about this. We can create our own codes. We can create our own values. And I love that it begins with like asking yourself, what do you like? Because what I found is I kind of did, well, you didn't exactly do this, but I noticed I had like a little mini midlife crisis last year. And I noticed that I subconsciously did not want to become my mom in terms of where she's at in her life now in her 70s. And I swung too far. I noticed, I was like, why are my kids in aftercare? Like, I literally started my own business like before I had kids so that I could be with my kids when I had them. And I'm like, why are they in aftercare? Like, it's because I was overworking I was like hyper working so that I could not become what she became. Like I was under mothering when she was, I mean, again, I'm kind of making this up, but I noticed I was kind of under mothering and maybe she over mothered, or like at least she didn't put herself on the list. Right. And so that was a really good wake up call, and to see like, oh, I can do both. I can put myself on a list and have a career and have businesses or whatever. And I can also get my kids off the bus and like play Uno with them, which is, and I want to do that. I don't have to swing all the way over here. And I think that's what we do. To your point, we get in this reactionary mode. We are living out the subconscious programming or the rebound of it. And can we start to just look at it? And to your point, again, get curious about it.
Yeah. And that, gosh, I was working with a coach yesterday, and I'm really big on this curiosity. Like you said at the beginning, oh, I never asked, like, does this even make logical sense? Right. Like, and then there's always like a curiosity under the curiosity, like there's always even more under that, because people have an insight, right? And you got there and that got you there, but there's always layers to that. And that's where the treasure is in those layers. And one of the things I talk about later, once you've rewritten your mother code, is, when you write a book, suddenly you put everything into acronyms or acrostics. This is an acronym, which is PACT, which stands for, something to hold once you're working to stepping into living your mother code, is patience, affirmation, compassion, and trust. And I won't go totally deep in that, but the compassion that we have, that it's tender and this stirs up wounds. And if we can see that that's normal, that's okay, that your children trigger your unfinished business. And that's kind of part of the design. So you can grow with them, right?
Oh my God. So Gertrude, I'm thinking, okay, you're going to laugh. I didn't know that we're supposed to make these acronyms. And what was the other word? Acrostics. But what I notice with my clients is there's a lot of shame. It's hard to get curious because we want to make past decisions, behaviors, whatever, our past, like, like in a lot of us feel a lot of shame when we're looking to change. We're making ourselves so bad and so wrong. And I'm like, oh my God, what if we had a term called like shame-sighted? Because I've been teaching my clients, like every time you notice something, can you get super crazy excited that you noticed it because it's the first
Yes.
step? Because like
Yes.
they're just so in this habit. My husband was like, maybe it's ashmited, like ashamed, excited. I don't know. But like, can we get excited about noticing
That
the thing?
awareness is a big
Yes.
deal. Yes.
Yes. I think a lot of us, and because we
I like
stop. You
shame-sighted.
like
I don't know.
shame-sighted?
I do because otherwise you have to think about it too much.
Okay. Shame-sighted.
Yeah. And it just bursts the whole
Yes.
because shame is never going to lead you out.
Exactly. I'm working on being very calm with my kids and not
Yeah.
snapping at them, especially my daughter. And I've come a long way. But if I notice I've snapped or I've noticed I haven't shown up the way that I want to show up, and this could be with food, this could be in your marriage, this could be with your money, this could be with your career in
Totally.
any area. When I notice it, yeah, I would just get sucked into this shame spiral and I wouldn't change the behavior like you're saying. And so I'm like, now I snap at her or scream at her. And I'm like, oh my God, I am amazing. I am so excited that I've just noticed that because if I've noticed it, that I could actually change it if I don't put myself in a hole. And it's like really holding myself gently.
Oh,
Anyways,
wow. No,
so
I love that
yes,
because I'm so on board with you with this. And this is the patience like
yes,
that we make mistakes like as parents, the code is there's a right way to do it and the mistake thing isn't allowed, right? Like you
right.
don't make mistakes and that's why you feel shame. So we patience and you're acknowledging like the like, oh, I'm trying to walk, but I'm falling down every now and then as I learn to walk, right? And
Yes.
and so, but then you can bring your kids into that game with you,
Mm.
which is, like you're doing it by just
Oh, she's in
acknowledging
the
it.
game. She's like,
Yeah,
Mom, you said you were working on this.
right.
I'm like, thank
Exactly.
you.
And then, what we would do sometimes is we would do do-overs.
Oh, I love that.
Let's run it again, and that's the only way we change the system is if we practice a new behavior.
We forget that we can do do-overs.
Yes. So much better than I'm sorry.
Yes.
Because then you're just going to do it again.
Yes.
Like, yeah, you may actually feel some regret or remorse, but you're just going to do it again unless you practice it.
That's so good. And no one teaches us that either, that like this is a practice.
Yes.
Like
we're learning and growing together. This whole you're supposed to have it figured out.
I've never been a mom to like a 7.5-year-old ever.
Right.
I'm like, Luna, I'm new at this.
Even when you have a second 7.5-year-old,
Yeah.
they're totally different and you're doing different kid, different you, like it's never this just, oh, I now I've got this mastered.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Talk to us. Okay. So I have like 18 more questions. So maybe I'll just have to come back on the podcast. But,
all right. Twist my arm.
One last question I had was around responsibility. You brought that up at the beginning. And this is another kind of shtick I've been on. Like, yeah, it is your right. And yes, you do deserve to be on the list, but like maybe it's actually like our responsibilities. And can you speak to that?
Well, I love that you just said it, right? If we hold it instead, like it's our responsibility to be in the best shape, in the best care. It's our responsibility to ourselves, right? Like we have this vessel, we have this one human lifetime in this form. If we want to get the most out of it, we need to be responsible with it, right? And we need to, and then guess what? I've taken on the responsibility of stewarding children, or I made a commitment to a spouse for relationship. My end of the bargain is to be in the best shape I can because I have chosen this responsibility. So to be the most responsible is to be the most me.
No, I love the most me.
Yeah, the most me and the,
the truest me. Maybe it's like the truest,
right? Like we're being ourselves and it's much more fun. That's the other thing I say, like this mothering yourself, it feels like, and we've been trained to it's just going to be work to mother myself. It's like, well, there's a lot of simple ways that you just need to there was a bird perched on the tree outside there. And before I got on this call and I just sat and allowed it to be a miracle for like 20 seconds. Like, oh my God, this bird's so close and look at you. You're so sweet. And da, 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 da. That's giving myself a moment instead of frantically like, oh my God, I got to get set up. And, you know.
No, that's what I was doing. But it's true. Like we also with the Yummy Mummy, we go like glimmer hunting every day.
Yes, glimmer hunting. Exactly.
Yes, like it really is. Yes. And the fun part, like when you were talking about your statement, I was like, oh, fun is definitely in mine.
My pleasure. Like we can even take it to like, I prioritize my pleasure.
Yeah.
Like
that's radical too, but it is, I do think it's our responsibility because like, at least for me, when I prioritize my pleasure, my comfort, my fun, I don't just have the capacity to show up as the mom I want to be. I want to be the mom that I want to be. It's not like I have the capacity to do it or like I can do it or like I have the energy. It's like I just genuinely want to. And it becomes this
I love that.
My cup filled up. And so, yeah, it goes back to the logical thing of like, let's put ourselves on the list so that it's
everyone
easy
benefits.
to do what we,
Yep, everyone benefits. It's really true. And it annoys me it's kind of turned into a trope or just we get mindless because we've heard it so many times, put your oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
Like if you think about that, like if you don't, you will die.
Yeah.
And so will your child because you didn't take care of yourself.
It's the best analogy. I mean, it's why it's so popular is because it's correct.
Right.
And my mom, oh God, my poor mom, but unfortunately, like she's the perfect example of this. The death of who she's not her anymore. And she's like, you could talk about it, go for it. And I'm like, yeah, because I do. I want to talk about it as like that cautionary tale. The part of her that like I knew is not there anymore. And it is because of this oxygen mask analogy.
Yeah.
So not to end on like the heaviest note ever.
But yes, we'll go back to that. And for her to know she made that choice and yes, it has its consequences, but you know, she gets to also see these beautiful children that were a result of it and that can now learn from her and take it the next level.
I don't think it's over for her either. Like I think there's still another whole chapter. So stay tuned, guys. Let's see if she comes back to life. So any other takeaways? Let's end for real. And any other takeaways that we can start to implement? You talked about just getting curious and just getting a little bit aware, but any other little takeaways that we can start to implement now?
I'm going to say a couple because they're short and easy. I love the work that Carol Dweck did on growth mindset. And I don't know if you've talked about her in here, but the thing that I love about her is that simple word yet, right? So you may be listening to this and it's like, oh my God, I have no idea how to rewrite my mother code. If you just add yet to it, like, I don't know how to rewrite it yet. I have an idea of it, but I don't know how to live it yet.
It opens us.
It opens. It's like, oh, there's possibility. Okay. So we're adding yet to the vocabulary. This is a practice, like a self-mothering practice that I started when I realized, when I was learning all the things about like, how do you calm your nervous system and, you know, our whatever nervous system and vagal and all that stuff, right? It's like, that's all so complicated, but there's such easy practices that we can do to mother ourselves. And I realized that I was waking up every morning scared, right? Like it was the reason I was hitting my snooze alarm, you know, and not wanting to get up because I would just start thinking about it. So I started this practice of an if I wake up, then I will smile. Right? Because just the act of smiling, you know, shifts and does all these positive things for you. Right. Yeah. And I still do it. I'm like, well, I may or may not feel something directly from this, but I can now get out of bed. It has changed the framework of the start of my day. And I think for moms, you know, it's like, whoa, it can feel a little heavy.
I talk about that moment all the time. I'm like, you wake up and full smile.
Yeah, just that, and knowing what I loved about it is it's not like, oh, okay, I'm going to get up and fake it till I make it with this smile. It was the fact that triggers all these other like good vibes, you know, and without getting technical about it and cortisol levels and, you know, all the things, it does calm our nervous system to do that. So, I mean, those are just a couple like tips.
Okay, well, you guys have to go stalk Dr. Gertrude Lyons so that you can find out the other tips. Yes. And please go get her book, you guys, Rewrite the Mother Code. And how else can we stalk you and find you and know you?
Yeah. Well, I am active on Instagram at Dr. Gertrude Lyons. And then my website shares things about retreats that I do and coaching, and you can buy the book from my website. I also have a podcast, Rewrite the Mother Code, that I'm going to need to have Laura on, and I'm inviting her right now. So all of those ways, and you can sign up for my email list where I share about the things that are going on with me and also upcoming things, like just to stay connected.
I love that, you guys. I have been seeking other women that are older than me. And this is the part where I'm like, this is a compliment, you guys. I know she knows this, but like, I want to learn from you. Like, I want more sages in my life. That is a part of what I'm grieving right now, is like the loss of my mom and like the unmet expectations that I had. Like, I totally thought my mom was going to like be here for this part. Like, I thought we were going to be, you know, going on hikes and getting our nails done and going to freaking Machu Picchu all together. Right. And so I don't get to have the mom that I want. And so I just want to reflect back to you. Like, I'm so glad you came into my life. It was so unexpected at the dinner, you guys, where she was introducing her book to us. It was so unexpected how much emotion was coming up for me. So I just thank you for like being in my life now. I'm totally coming on one of your retreats and doing all the things.
Exactly. And yeah, it is. I take that in as a huge compliment, you know, and now you're going to make me cry because that's, you know, I would love nothing more.
Yeah. Well, we're here to free the moms, guys. We're here to free the moms. And I think you're doing such a beautiful job of it. And I just like, I'm so happy that you are in the world and that I get to know you. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
You're so welcome. More to come. Okay.
All right, you guys, I hope you all have the absolute best week ever. Ciao, ciao.